Welcome to another week of A Friendly Nudge. So this week we're making oven-baked pork ribs with homemade barbecue sauce. And this has quickly become a fan favorite around here. So in the barbecue sauce, I'm using fish sauce, smoked paprika, black pepper, apple cider vinegar, molasses, balsamic vinegar, Dijon mustard, uh, tomato paste and lime juice, and then the star of the show are the pork ribs. These are loin ribs that I got at Costco, and I've got 3 racks that we're going to do. And we're going to cook them in a 250-degree oven. It's absolutely the easiest thing in the world to make. So I'm just adding a little bit of pepper to the back side of these. You know, they didn't have much of a membrane on them, so I didn't get too worried about trying to get it off. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to get a little bit of the flavor going through that membrane anyway. And then I'm adding just a little bit of smoked paprika. And this is something I use a lot. To me, it really adds a great flavor. It actually is also in the barbecue sauce. So just getting all the spices on there so that I can then kind of massage that into the ribs at one time instead of, you know, having to wash my hands 85 times. So getting all that on the back side of it. And, you know, some people will use like mustard as a kind of as a way to get spices to stick. You know, I'm not saying that you can't do that. I just like this method a little better. So once again, now we got the meaty side of the ribs. I'm going to add the black pepper to it, and you know you can use smoked black pepper. This is just regular, but it's kind of a coarse cracked pepper, and then you know just giving it a good amount of salt. This is just kosher salt. Yeah, I never use like iodine salt because I think that can affect the taste. And I usually use black diamond for the salt that I use. But so now I've got that all rubbed in there, and I'm going to put the ribs in. The oven is set at 250 degrees. They'll be in there for an hour and a half, and then we'll put the barbecue sauce on them and cook them for another hour and a half. So, you know, getting the mustard in there, and I'm just going to eyeball a quarter of a cup. So, you know, and this doesn't have to be exact. You guys have figured that out by now. You know, I'm going to eyeball about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and then about 3 times that amount, or 3 tablespoons, of balsamic vinegar. And the balsamic vinegar kind of adds a little bit of depth and sweetness to it. So it's one of the reasons I don't use a whole lot of molasses. And I've played around with this thing over, you know, several years, and it's like this is now my barbecue sauce recipe. I pretty much make it every time. And you know, this is the molasses. It's backstrap molasses, and I'm putting about a tablespoon of that in. And then I'm using a whole tube of tomato paste. And you can also use like the small cans. And, you know, if you're doing that, it'd probably be about a six ounce can. I think this tube was about 4.5 ounces. I'm turning the heat down just a little bit. It was kind of a little bit too high. So we're just going to get all of that squeezed in there. I usually keep one of these in the fridge, you know, that's partially opened. And then this is a tablespoon of black pepper and a tablespoon of sweet smoked paprika. And yeah, I'm actually using a measuring spoon, which is like, okay, it was just as easy as using a regular spoon. And then this is kind of the secret ingredient. I think that a lot of times people will smell fish sauce and it kind of puts them off, but it's like, this stuff is the secret weapon. It just adds so much umami. I'll probably put about a tablespoon in. And I'm just going to get that mixed in well. And then I'm going to put in a half of a lime. And, with all of this, you hear me talk a lot about playing with your food. I put just a little bit of salt in, but the fish sauce it's really salty actually. And now I'm just adding a little bit of water because this stuff will cook for a while and get real thick. So we'll just continue to kind of add a little bit of water as necessary. And yeah, it has sort of this lava-like consistency, so I'm adding just a little bit more water. And just give that a stir. And then, once again, it's going to be like, okay, now let's taste it to see, all right, does it need adjusting? And man, I nailed it, so I don't need to do any adjustment. And you'll figure this out over time. It's like you'll get to where you can taste something and go, oh, wait a minute, it needs a little bit of acid. And the only way that you develop that is that you just practice it. So and you notice that I'm using the brush and putting it back in the sauce. That I'm going to put this back on the stove and reheat it because I wouldn't do that otherwise. So now we're going to put them back in the oven for an hour and a half. And really, the work's done. And these were absolutely perfect. So have a wonderful week and play with your food.